Good day, everybody. I thought I would just do a quick walk around of my semi-portable solar system. So we're running 5 watt solar cells, solar panels, and this is the heart and soul of the system. Like I say, I'm thinking I'm going to add a wind turbine onto it. We've got some more hose here. I'm going to add in some more spots. And we're running 2 charge controllers. Just one's in the box, one's underneath the solar panels because the charge controllers that I've got doing this right now won't take all of these panels put together. That pressure gauge is lying. We're not running 110 psi. We're running 50. Somewhere over the winter, it went to like 70 pounds, and it still reads pressure. It just doesn't read the right pressure. I'm running a pressure switch. I've got it set at 50 pounds. When everything shuts off, we're tapped out at 50 pounds. When they come to drink, it's the first however many gallons. Like, that's a 3-gallon surge tank plus all the line and everything else. Who knows? I don't know how many gallons you get at higher pressure before it drops down to about 10 pounds at continuous pumping to get up the hill. That's 10 pounds down here. Everything runs through a screen, but coming out of the well, the water's clean, so I don't even need to worry about it. I probably wouldn't even need to worry about it. But when I come out of a pond, I clean that screen about every 3 days. And it works pretty good. I guess a person could put a bigger one on and you'd get longer out of it, but not much need to. This thing's a work in progress. It's not finalized. So don't get too critical on, oh my God, it's just jerry rigged. Well, it started out as 2 panels, and then I learned that I just didn't have enough power to pump as long as I needed, so I added these 3 panels in a quick manner and ran them off their own charge controller and hooked it up to the battery. There's a deep cycle battery in that box as well, and it has enough power to run all day long, never shutting off as long as the sun's out, which was our problem when we had 3 days of cloud and rain. The difference is we had rain, so the cattle were hydrated. So I run an individual electric fence in here around inside, not hooked to any other electric fence. Its sole purpose is to protect my solar system. It's running at 8,000 volts, or it was. Let's check it. 8,500 volts. So whatever touches it is going to get lit up. I've had good luck doing this. I guess I just wanted to kind of show you around, refresher. There is a video about my solar system probably a year or 2 ago. But this is the heart of it. It pumps 3 2,000 feet up to the top of that hill. We're going to have to pump up and over this hill. I'm going to put a water station right on the other side of this fence. Then the hose is going to go up there and up over. And my highest point in my pasture is about probably 300 meters that way. My objective is to get water line to that point and use that high point as pressure for the whole system with a reserve tank. As I said, work in progress. Comes down to build it as I can afford it, and the grass is recovering. These heifers, here's another, here, let me pause you and we'll go over by their water in case they come so I can show you the pressure that this thing shoots. Okay, so this is the first tank in line. I've showed you from the top of the hill. I've said this is the lowest tank right now. And so if these heifers come and drink here, this one has priority because it has to pump up probably about, I don't know if it'd be 10 feet in elevation to get to the next tanks up there. But pressure's pressure, right? It follows the path of least resistance. That's enough said about the water system. Everything's pressured up right now. If the girls come, I took that string and I just went across here with it last night at about 6:30. They had all day on this tank, and what was happening is they were just coming up and sipping a little bit. They weren't actually taking that much water here, maybe dropping it about 2 inches out of the tank for, there's 32 head in here, 33 with the bull. So basically they were just sipping, and when you're trying to recover the whole system, those cows up there were getting very little water because they kept coming back, and it was a warm day, but I mean, it wasn't that hot. It's a habit. It's a habit. They go out, they eat, and when they're at this end of the paddock, they go out, they come back, and then when they're at this end, they come and have a sip. Well, okay, so then it would take 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to top up this tank. Meanwhile, that tank up there, the cows are draining it and moving it around. Like, if it was just given a chance to catch up, I needed weight in those tanks up there. So I decided last night at about 6:30 to come down here, and I put a line right across here, like right across here. They could come in here, and they didn't even bawl. They just looked at it, and they were all disappointed, and but they didn't bawl. They just turned around and went back out and grazed. So that gave those two tanks last evening to catch up. So when I left last night at about 7:30, all the cattle up there had drank. Like that's a way bigger herd on that side. And the tanks weren't empty. They were probably still about 6 inches of water in each one and pumping. And it pumped all the way till it was too dark to pump. And the battery got lowered to the shutoff point, which I believe is 11.2 volts or something. So, and see, now these girls are wandering their way this way. They'll come. And we'll get to see the pressure. So I want to explain, this whole enclosed pasture that they're in here is about 60 acres. Yeah, it'd be about 60 acres, maybe a little bit more. And it's got, where the dugout is, it's got I call it native grass, but who knows if it actually is. And then all this bottom coming over here. And they had grazed, and I got lazy, guys. I'm going to tell you, I got lazy, and I had just thrown them in this big paddock, and I was just concentrating on my big herd, and I thought, well, these guys will... But they were just coming back, and they were eating these bottoms. Like this is grazed and grazed and grazed and grazed. And they just kept coming back and nipping the bottoms because, of course, the bottoms are coming back from the moisture underneath. And they were leaving all of that and all of that. So I got a little ticked off the other day, and mostly at myself. And I made a small paddock, basically from there. This is my permanent power wire going down the middle. And it's probably about 4 acres. And so I paddocked it off, but I didn't go right to the end of it because they'd also gone all the way around the outside perimeter of the perimeter of this paddock, and they've cleaned that off. And there's some low spots up on the top of the hill, like it kind of turns into a slough and whatnot. And so I fenced around all that. I kept them on the crested wheat that was tall. Well, I grazed it like a few days later. I moved them. Now they're going over there and coming in here for water, but where they're at, it's the same thing. I fenced around where they weren't grazing, and I put them in it. And they're doing just fine. So I want to explain, I got lazy. It was me, not the cow's fault. The cows are doing what cows do. They're eating their favorite stuff. That's why we make smaller paddocks and break them up and do what we're doing. Are you guys coming? They're looking at me because I'm talking, and they're like, "What? Who are you talking to?" Anyways, now that I've got kind of back on program here, I'm happier with what's going on. It was driving me crazy to watch them do the set it and forget it type grazing, I guess. So what they would do is, of course, they'd eat the bottoms until there was nothing left, and then they'd come out and nibble a little bit of the tall stuff. And then the next day they'd go back and they'd nip the bottoms again. And then it's a very poor way of doing things. Your bottoms take a shit kicking, and your bottoms should be where your best grass is, not where your worst grass is. But anyway, I'll pause you until they come because they're kind of making up their mind. But I'll show you the pressure that comes out of this thing when they start the pump. Hang on. Okay, so you get a gallon or two until it kind of lowers the pressure, but yeah, it's running out. It does a pretty good job. So this is these guys' first drink of the day because I had that wire across. I want you to pay attention to the shape of these animals. There's There was no abuse done to them. Like I said, they were coming up and they'd just sip, and then it would take, and I was losing hours of recovery out of it, and they were just sipping it. They weren't taking much, but it was, it'd take 20 minutes to pump, and then we'd get maybe a half an hour up there, and then they'd be back, and then take another 20 minutes to pump, and they just weren't thirsty. They were just, it's a habit. But all I can say is it didn't take very long to catch up. And I mean, these guys aren't coming and just diving into the water. And if they were thirsty, they would be pushing and shoving to get to it. And they're not. They're just, now they're just doing their same thing. But it rained last night, and we had a real heavy dew this morning, and they were out grazing, so they were pulling in lots of moisture with what they were eating. So you would be very surprised at how much water they pick up as they graze in conditions like that. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Have a great day. Talk to you again.